All right, on this Tuesday, it's actually day 2 of the DNC in Chicago, and President Biden will be out of sight after officially passing the torch to Kamala Harris in a post-primetime speech at 11:28 last night. That's when it kicked off.
Biden immediately left Chicago, starting a vacation in California after telling reporters he could have won re-election.
I could barely make him out there. He's in his drop shadow. Senior White House correspondent Jacqui Heinrich joins us live from Chicago, and she is well lit. Jacqui.
Good morning, guys, and thank you, Brian. You know, Democrats pushed the president out of primetime just 4 weeks after they pushed him out of the race entirely, and it reportedly didn't go over well with his allies. One longtime Biden aide texted a reporter, quote, "This is awful. He literally set up a campaign and handed it over to them. Do they have to cut him out of primetime?" This was the only night of the convention that was all about Joe Biden. Everything he took in from the stage would have been his. And remember, he didn't get any reception like this in 2020 because of the pandemic. He accepted his nomination in a parking lot. The National Mall at his inauguration was empty. He took to the podium after wiping a tear from his eye with his back half turned to the crowd. And finally, Nancy Pelosi came clean about the pressure campaign that Democrats put on after first claiming she never made a single call.
Talk to him is my only question.
What I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president, it was about his campaign. As he has seen the exuberance, the excitement that has come forth in our country.
Biden says he has not spoken to Pelosi since he dropped out, but he came to realize what he needed to do, even though he still believes he could have won.
The party thought they'd lose Senate seats or House seats. That would have been the topic you would have had to cover the entire remainder of the campaign. And it wasn't worth it. Well, you know, I always think we could have won. And if you go back and look at the numbers, we weren't that far behind.
The Democrats are undeniably more energized with a new nominee, and Biden tried to give Harris plenty of credit in the speech that laid out what he sees as his legacy story.
I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, but I gave my best to you. For 50 years, like many of you, I've given my heart and soul to our nation.
Biden's last big political moment was raw at times. He sounded pitchy as he started out, mustering the grace to deliver this handoff that his party demanded. But it was a very clear snapshot of the reality in politics. You have a lot of friends until you're no longer useful to them. Guys.
That's right. So Jackie, last week we were talking a little bit about how David Plouffe was coming in to join the campaign and stuff like that. There seemed to be an internal power struggle in between the campaign and the White House and Wilmington and everything else. Have they worked that out, or are the long knives still out?
You know, we're starting to see Harris's circle fill out. I think we're noticing she's stacking the people around her with people who've known her for a long time. I'd be curious to know if Joe Biden gave her any advice on, you know, whether to bring in people from the Obama camp. Some people who were in his inner circle are no longer in the inner circle. You heard Anita Dunn yesterday say that we weren't going to hear any legacy talk from Joe. It seems like she didn't really get a preview of his speech. Right. And just 4 weeks ago, she was in the room with him every night. So after that pressure campaign built up, I really wonder what advice the president gave to Harris as she tries to build her own team, guys.
Right. He's kind of merging everything. I don't know how long she keeps it in Delaware. There's no reason for it to be in Delaware, right?
None. Except it would just take a long time to call Mayflower moving and move them to someplace else.
The jobs are based there, though.
Or make an open bid. It doesn't have to be Mayflower. It could be anybody.
A lot of people are saying, thank you so much, Jackie. A lot of people are talking about how it was intentional that they put Joe Biden in so late last night. I was like, my gosh, how much longer am I going to have to stay awake? Because I wanted to see it all. You know, we could wake up in the morning and watch it.
What did you see at the bottom of the screen that put you over the top?
I was flipping around channels and it said, coming up next, Chris Coons. I'm like, why? And then Raphael Warnock. What?
Well,
I want to see Jill Biden. I want to see I want to see Joe Biden, and then I want to go to bed.
But well, the thing is, what I did is just watch the replay. I got to get you a VCR.
I should have done that. I'm doing that. I got to get some sleep tonight.
But I would add this. It looks like they cut James Taylor out. They cut Debbie Wasserman Schultz and somebody else out. It still went long. I mean, if you look at their platform with all the mentions of re-election of Joe Biden, how many? 19? And then they realized they had these speakers with no discipline at all. I guess that's not unique to the Democratic Convention, but we got spoiled last month. Things went off like a top. But you could see by Jake Tapper's comments that I rewatched the replay this morning, they were saying, well, it was pretty long. It was 49 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was all over the place. It was legacy, and it could have. And Van Jones came out and said, "Well, it could have been shorter."
Well, it could have been.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't just long, though, guys. It was full of things that says that everything is going right with America.
Lies.
The border has been fixed. That inflation has been fixed. That they've given all the goodies to the American people, and you just got to wonder, after he painted such a glowing picture of his administration, why would they force a guy like that out of the race?
Well, you know, here's the thing about it going past prime time, and that is if you're going to do a TV show, you should probably have a TV producer doing it, because obviously if they just had politicians saying, okay, these are the people we owe 5 minutes to. So we got 75 people who are going to speak before Joe Biden. It was very poorly produced. And as Jacqui was highlighting, even people inside the Biden circle are like, look, they're screwing him. He's whiny. He has to give the speech he
Hillary
never
Clinton
wanted to give, which is
long.
so long, everybody. I had a great life. He didn't want to do that. He was squeezed out by the party, and then he was squeezed out by the show. They should have put him on at 9 o'clock Eastern time and then had Chris Coons go after him.
But it
was insulting.
But guys, isn't Spielberg the producer of this? We're not talking about some Joe Blow here. He's supposed to be a really good producer here. So
he's a movie producer. It was a long movie.
Bring in Ron Howard. I'm sorry I had to come to this.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.